As Turkey chews over what more it needs to do to win EU membership, the Turkish army's flexing its muscles in domestic politics. The Prime Minister's in a tricky situation because conservative Muslims form the backbone of his support. But the Turkish army defends the separation of state and religion, something that might win over sceptics in the EU. Radio Netherlands Europe editor Johan Huizinga told me the army's a cornerstone of what Europeans want to see plenty of. Religion in its right place, far away from government.
First of all, they were one of the creators, one of the founders of this secular state, together, of course, with the Mr. Kemal Atatürk, the real founder. And they've always maintained that role of guarding this secular state, meaning there is a secular state, a strict division between the secular state and religion, which is something on an individual base, but not to base your collective identity on. So that means that collective identity means Turkish citizenship, Turkish nationalism. And religion is something for everybody to do in his own time on a very individual base.
Do you think on that basis then are the fears that the Muslim influence from Turkey, were it to join the EU, are unfounded?
I think these fears are indeed not justified, because you cannot compare Turkey to many other states in the Middle East. Indeed, there is a very strict separation. All these peoples, a lot of them have a very strong belief, but still they're very much attached to the secular state as well.
And it seems that is enshrined in the fact that the military backs up that secular state.
Yes, that is true. The army still feels like it has the role, and it has to maintain the role of guarding this secular state. You could say it sometimes is even abused by the army. For instance, by the new, fairly hawkish chief of staff, General Buyukanit, who is using this guarding role to lash out at the government of Prime Minister Erdogan, which has its roots in Islam, but is very secular as well.
Are there not people at the very top layer of government who seek to redefine secularism at every opportunity? Are the personality and ideology of Atatürk, our founder, and the very principles of his republic not under attack? Can you say there's no such thing in Turkey? If you cannot, then there is a threat from the reactionary forces here, and every measure must be taken against this.
Maybe for Western European people it's fairly bizarre to hear a general warning a government for possible changes in the constitution, because that was what he was up to. The speaker in the House has speculated on possibly redefining the word secularism. And the background of that is that next year there will be elections, and next year they will have to deliver a new president. And the president, traditionally in Turkey, is also one of the main guards over this secular state. Now, Mr. Erdogan, who has a wife who wears the headscarf which is forbidden to wear in public buildings and schools and universities in Turkey because of this very strict separation.
If we have the wife of the Prime Minister wearing a headscarf, then it sets a precedent for pretty much everybody else.
Yes, it's this symbol, a president with a wife wearing a headscarf in the presidential palace, that is just too much for the army. That is such a strong symbol of Islam mixing and meddling with the secular state, and with the strongest symbol of the secular state being the president. In their eyes, it's even illegitimate.
That's Opera Opera, Turkey's entry to the 1983 Eurovision Song Contest by Setin Alp and the Shortwave, which came last. And 23 years on, Turkey's still not feeling the love from Europe. Now, from Brussels business, we swing south towards Paris and beyond, where more